What up, peeps? Nick Battle, aka Nino's Corner. We got Jay from Unfair Sports, my boy Steven from Fanatic Perspective. 3/5 of the SEC Connect ties on the road today. He can't make it. You know, Chris always shows up late, man. So Chris gonna be in here probably a little later, or he's on baby duty, one of the two, or he might be playing NCAA 2025. But you know, Chris is a
we know
nomad.
he's playing NCAA. Come on, now. Let's not play ourselves. Let's not pretend like this man ain't video gaming right now.
Yeah, man. Hey, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, folks, man. We got a lot of good topics to talk about today. But first, let's get into these comments, man. I don't know how to say your name, Mr. ID established, but Jay and Coop. Yeah, him, that guy. Again. Yeah, man. The PG show. Go look at PG. Here he is. Here he is, right here. Here's the man of the hour.
Man, the myth, the legend.
The legend. You just fresh off of NCAA 2025?
Oh man, I was on there putting in that work, man. It ain't easy trying to take these mean green to places they've never known. My God.
Oh my God. All right, guys. Hey, like, comment, and subscribe, man. Helps this channel a lot. We got my boy PG here from the PG show. He's in the comments. He goes, when does this thing start? Come on, hey, PG, you're a family member of the show. You know we ain't never on time. You know what I'm saying?
When have we ever been on time, people?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. PG's over here putting the comments in. Who's this? Oklahoma E. I don't know what that means. Riley UT goes, yo, Oklahoma. Then it goes, all right, so what about how about we beat Texas 7-3? Not happening, player. You already know that. Stephen G, he's a family member of the show too, man. He goes, Texas sucks. Child, please.
He got you to read it too. That's the best part. you know it's family when they come in here and troll immediately, man. It's love.
Nino will read anything.
Yeah, I will read anything.
He really does. That's the funny part. Like you're like the old grandparent that just every time you put something in front of him, just say, "Hey, can you read this real quick?" Damn. Sure, baby. And you start reading. You're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, man. What I do, man. Friday and Truth. Yeah, LOL. And they say I'm a troll, PG. Yeah, just like Josh Hornsby says, man, smash that like button.
You are.
How are regular folks supposed to get tickets to the Red River this year? Hey, player, if you got him, you got him. If you don't, you don't. I ain't gonna be there though.
Gotta have a plug, baby. Gotta work them plugs.
You gotta have that plug. Future man. He says, "OU sucks." Definitely. But hey, guys, look, man, we got a lot of topics to talk about. Not a lot of time today, man. Week 5 recap. A couple topics here, man. Hey, will the real Lane Kiffin please stand up? That's topic number 1 we'll talk about. Topic number 2, man, OU's epic comeback. Chris, Jay, that was a very, very entertaining game, man. Very entertaining game. Chris's thoughts on Peyton Thorne were correct again. But yeah, that's a whole nother topic. We'll get into that later on. Number 3, is A&M a real contender in the SEC? Bruh. That's gonna be a good question. They got a nice schedule, but we'll talk about that too later. And number 4, man, Bama versus Georgia, instant classic. What a game! But fellas, let's get into topic number 1, man. Will the real Lane Kiffin please stand up? Jay, I want to hand this over to you, man, because I know you've been talking about Lane for a couple years.
Hey, man, look. I tried to tell y'all, man, that man is James Franklin of the South, or James Franklin is the Lane Kiffin of the North. It just feels like there's always that game that's just, it gets slapped in the face, man. And it's the funny part, right? So I'm chopping it up with a cat from Stephen Willis over there at Locked On Ole Miss, right? And he's like, this is the best team that we've ever put together in my lifetime. And I'm like, in your lifetime? It's like, in my lifetime. You know what that told me? They're going to lose at least 3 games this season because they are guaranteed to disappoint they people, man. I mean, we know Auburn is going to always give you something, right? Now, this is a level of epic just fair. Now, granted, I don't want to go too hard on Ole Miss because I want to give props to Kentucky. We talked about Kentucky before the season started and said that they are going to give teams some problems. They've done it twice already this season. They put Georgia in hell. And we didn't expect that. Now, granted, a lot of people felt like Georgia was looking past them. Sure enough, whatever. But every time that Georgia's gone to Lexington over the last few years, they've been put in hell, right? But the fact that they walked into Oxford, they went to the Grove, snatched up they Southern Bells, ate they cookies, took they barbecue, drank they sweet tea, and walked up out alive? Hey, man.
With they women, too.
With the women's. The Southern Bells left with them. That is a problem to me, guys. I cannot believe in rewatching some of that, what the hell Lane Kiffin was even thinking. It's bananas to me, dog. I knew I was wondering which one of the games it was going to be. I honestly did not think it would have been Kentucky that was going to pull this off, because I thought that Ole Miss would win all their home games. But at this point, they are now 100% a mark. There's another mark out there too that we've got to talk about before the show's over, coming up this weekend. Just FYI.
Who that?
Oh, Missouri going to A&M.
Oh,
and I
okay,
say that because
that's the second topic. Second topic.
A&M's a favorite in that game, dog. We'll
Yeah.
break that down in a minute, but go ahead. Let me pass that around to y'all.
Chris.
Man, I think the only problem that I have, well, no, it's not the only problem.
Don't lie.
Yeah, let's unpack this. Let's unpack this, okay? I think the loss really rubbed me the wrong way simply because of game day, right? They're asking him these questions. He's on the field. And he's talking about, I still think it gave us confidence. We didn't play anybody, this and that. Well, if you're going to admit it like that, y'all need to schedule better. Wake Forest and Tulane and teams like that. Now, don't get it twisted. It's not like, you had this incredible non-con schedule, but Lane Kiffin, they don't necessarily schedule like that. But in all fairness, that was down the road. They were going to play USC, I think, because I know Riley talked about that this summer or whatnot.
Real quick though, Wake Forest has had some pretty solid seasons over the last couple of years. I thought they would have come in and gave them a better fight, to be honest.
I mean, what it boils down to is what Steven has said, what Nick has said, what Jay has said, what Ty has said. We can't trust these people. We can't trust Maxson Dart and Lane Kiffin to go up there and do what they need to do. As the season goes on, early in the season, Jackson Dart is one of the hottest things to talk about. One of the best things to talk about. He plays great football, but as the season goes on, they get deeper in SEC play. He tends to waver a little bit, comes out a bit hot, and then second at middle eight, second and third quarter, whatever case may be, it's just not good football. And so I with all the talent that they've assembled, and they have a really good defense, they have a really good offense, you would think, but it just felt like they were in a really methodical game. It was there were some things that were being asked that they just weren't simply able to do. And for the love of God, if Amos, or however you say his last name, is going to get all those penalties and make all those stupid ass mistakes, you got to take him off the field. My God,
get him out of there.
Like you got to. They start
get him out of
him or whatnot.
Get out, man.
Let's not sit here and act like Brock Vandagriff is a great quarterback or whatever the case may be. But I think he's good for this team. I think he fits kind of what they want there anyways, which is just a good game manager right now. Next year, maybe we can take the training wheels off, but for right now, I just need you to be a good game manager. Kentucky came out there with a hell of a game plan. We already know they have a really, really good defense. And the fact of the matter is, it just shocks you that Ole Miss can't go out there and beat this team by 20 points like we all thought that they were going to do, right? So I'm not going to continue going on, but I just say it's more of the same. I mean, we all like Kiffin. I think Kiffin is a great offensive mind, but it's just kind of felt like more of the same. Like, this is typical Ole Miss, right? Not necessarily the loss to Kentucky, but it just felt like them losing a game like this. Just, I don't know.
This is something that's suspected.
Of 10 on third down.
Oh, man.
Steven,
how about you, man?
10.
Ooh, 1 of 10 on third down.
So I think this is appropriate time to pull some receipts. So we did a video during the offseason where we talked about contenders, and what we meant by contenders wasn't just did you have a chance to make it to the SEC championship game, but like, who legit can win the SEC? That was the question we had at the time. I was the one person on this panel out of the five of us that did not have Ole Miss in my group of teams to win the conference. This is exactly why I said what I said at that point in time, because of Lane. And I understood what everybody, I got a lot of pushback that night. Ole Miss's roster. I mean, can Lane? Lane can't screw this up, Steve. Like all this stuff. Like I get it, and in the roster, there's nothing wrong with the roster from a talent perspective. The problem is they don't have football toughness mentally, physically. Like they don't, because Kentucky. One thing I noticed about Kentucky, and I noticed this going in. We talked about this on Bleacher Report of why we said this. All of us said this game was going to be close.
Mhm.
Now I don't think none of us picked them to win, but we said the game would be close. The spread was
true.
already. We all said that because Kentucky has an identity. Kentucky has an identity, and I said it on Twitter. They're a bunch of street fighters. They come out there.
That's so good.
They are street fighters in at all phases of their defense. They want to fight you, okay? And when you go against people that just like to fight, if you don't know how to tough your way through it and get focused on the game, you can really get disgruntled. Let's say we're playing pickup basketball and there's a brother out there that's just fouling the hell out of you. He's in your face. You don't like it. You're trying to hoop, and this person's not having it. A real hooper knows how to get around that, right? Like eventually they'll figure it out. They're tough enough. I'm not going to let this person's antics get to me. That's not Ole Miss. Okay, Kentucky came out there and smacked them in the mouth at the line of scrimmage. Jay, I texted you in the first quarter, I think the second possession, and I said, Ole Miss is in trouble. It wasn't even the score. I think they had scored.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like the way that the line of scrimmage looks right now. These dudes, you can see it.
They were
getting
bad.
Punched. when every time they threw the ball, you would see a Kentucky DB draped on a dude, right? Even the stuff that Ole Miss did get, and Ole Miss got some chunk plays in this game. Yeah. But Kentucky dudes were right. They were not backing off. They don't care. They'll get a penalty. They do not. They just want to fight you. And this is the same stuff we saw in the Georgia game. But we focus more on Georgia than we did on Kentucky and Mark Stoops and their team. They have an identity. Chris, you bring up Brock Vandagriff. No, he's not consistent. He's not. And he's growing. He's a young player. He needs a lot of reps.
He's young.
But the talent is there. The throw, he hit a big boy throw to Barry Brown.
Ooh, that 60-something yard pass.
That 60-something yard pass.
Yeah.
Where when they needed it, it's a fighter mentality. Like even the offense, they weren't good, but when they needed a big play in the red zone, they got a penalty. Then they were like, all right, screw it. We're gonna need something crazy to happen. Yeah. And they got it every single time.
My God.
So, that's why I look at Ole Miss and Lane and them. This is something I've never seen an Ole Miss team coached by Lane where I felt like, man, them boys are just going to fight and crawl their way to a victory. Like, they're going to win ugly. Everything for Jack, especially like Jackson Dart is just an epitome of it. When things are clean, he looks great.
Yeah.
He looks like it's 7-on-7 out there sometimes. But the moment a guard is getting bench press or whatever, it's like, oh shit! Like I gotta.
Why you say the man getting bench press? That's cold-blooded.
That's cold-blooded. Look, my favorite text from the day on that one, dude, was Nino sending a message saying Ole Miss got cooked for 50+ yards on 4th and 7.
I want to, if I can make a point.
How?
Hey, Chris.
Win or lose, and I say this an awful lot, win or lose, these are the type of games that Ole Miss can't afford. Why? Because these are what I coined the phrase, blueprint games, right? These are games that people are going to say, hey, this is all we have to do to beat them. We don't have to go out there and play some spectacular game. We slow the game down, try to control that possession, and we punch them in the mouth, and we be extremely physical. And on top of that, don't try to go through that D line. Don't try to get through all of that. The secondary, pick on that secondary if you can. So there's a blueprint out there on this team now. So you can't go out there if you're Lane and all the rest of stuff. Who they play next?
South Carolina.
Yeah, and that's
not going to be easy. That ain't going to be easy.
Yeah, cakewalk.
That ain't going to be easy, bro.
And to be honest with you, South Carolina is a better version
Of
of
Kentucky.
Kentucky. Maybe
Oh,
defensively, you would still get an edge to Kentucky.
I gotta get that.
Collectively.
Yeah, even though South Carolina smoked Kentucky,
Yeah,
we get it.
but
It's a
but
matchup thing, though.
Yeah, it's
They're
all
different
about
teams.
but
matchups.
the running, but I mean, not the
Styles
running
make
back,
fights.
but the quarterback. If Sellers is healthy or whatnot, he can still do the same things that Brock Vandergrift did, and he could probably do it a little bit better as well.
Yeah, he'd be more
So
dangerous.
I mean that's the thing that kind of scares you about that game. Where's the game being played at? Is it at Ole Miss or is that South Carolina?
South Carolina, Columbia.
That's
I might.
Road game.
Oh
that's
my
pretty scary.
god!
Ooh, that stank.
If it was on the road, I would say okay. I think Lane them.
Stinky
I
stuff.
think -10. But yeah, no, that's tough, especially with a team like that who has something to prove and can
Let's
use
take it
that.
a step further, Chris.
Go ahead.
Go a step
While
further.
you're already on this track,
Yeah,
let's take it a step further. They go out South Carolina next weekend, so the next Saturday. The
Yeah.
following weekend, they're at LSU.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
Okay.
Mm.
After that, they have a bye, and then off the bye week, they get OU coming to the Grove.
yeah.
After OU, they got to go to Fayetteville,
Oh no, they ain't.
and then after that, they got Georgia coming to the crib.
Child, please. Child, please.
You tell me how they're going to win the SEC in this scenario. here.
Not happening. I guess we.
It's tough because regardless of the woes,
They're not winning all those games.
I know, but regardless of the woes that we have, the defense, and that's the problem is that they're going to face some really, really good defenses.
Yeah, people that are physical. You don't think that Brent Venables and them saw that on film, or all these other defensive people
Georgia?
that watched that game?
LSU
Georgia?
is the only team out of there that you really don't know what defense is going to show up.
It's not going to be a defense. That's going to be a shootout like last year.
I think that will be a shootout, but I
That's
think
gonna
all
be a
those
shootout.
other defenses are looking at that, licking their chops, saying, "Oh, physical? Y'all don't like to be physical?"
Yeah.
Y'all ain't being pushed? Oh,
Hey,
okay.
man.
So pushing you is all we got to do? Okay.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
But somebody said in the chat, though, I thought they were pretty spot on, this is wild to me. Lane and living in the portal, being the portal king like he is, putting those piecemeal teams together, it does not seem like they're building any type
a
of
team.
chemistry.
They're not building a
But
team.
then go look at what Colorado's doing.
Well, okay.
You still have to no, Jay's right. You have to have an identity, man.
You had to have an identity. but-
Kentucky got people out the portal. They're not the only. Ole Miss
No.
isn't the only portal school.
But
But I think
my
what-
point
I think what
is,
Jay's head
two
at is-
teams with a lot of transfer kids. If anything, Ole Miss's identity should have been around Jackson Dart and the way the office was. They should have, and they have no excuse for not having a true identity. Colorado literally is Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter and a whole bunch of random dudes
we're gonna
playing
laugh at
backyard
you.
football. And the
Yeah.
best part is Colorado still can't run the ball very good.
Here's a point that I think y'all are forgetting, and this is going to go in line with what y'all saying, but I think y'all are forgetting this. We have Lane freaking Kiffin on one side, then we got Pete Golding on the other side.
Oh, hold on, Chris.
So
Let me tap in this. Let me tap in, coach. Let me tap in. Hey, I text you guys during the game, right? I said, can we please change
You
Pete
did.
Golden's name from 3rd and Golden to 4th and Golden? It's 4th and 7. And you give up a 63-yard pass on 4th and 7. 4th and Golden is his new name, Chris. 4th and
Somebody
Golden
get fired
it
for
is.
that?
Huh?
feel
Yes,
like
you
somebody
get,
get fired for
dude.
that.
4th and 7 in there in the red zone in the come on, man. You were at your 20. Come on, bruh. What is you doing?
Well, here's
Like-
the thing. The thing is, like, Golding just, I know people are going to look at the raw numbers and say, why is Pete Golding on the hook? It was a 20-17 game.
Yeah.
Like, is that really on? Like, Ole Miss's offense have been averaging like 60-something points per game. Bro, if they get 20, we should be straight.
yeah,
But it's not the 20 points. It's the time of
it's
possession.
the time. Yes, time
It's
of
the
possession.
first down. Kentucky had 22 first downs.
And it's the time of the big plays.
And the situational downs, they were bad.
They
Which
were able to
all-
get
which-
big play after big play whenever they wanted them.
which
You know what I'm saying?
oh, sorry, bro. Keep going.
Yeah, so I got one more thing. Stoops just got his first signature win before Lane did.
Wow.
That's all I gotta say.
All I was going to say, everything that Steven just said, everything that y'all said, it equals out to look. We're talking about identity, right? Like you got two coaches who are known for being sporadic. One as Twitter fingers, and the other as just third or fourth down, really
Yeah.
bad. So
Fourth and golden, guys. All right, I think we got enough of Lane. Lane is not going to stand up and be the real Lane Kiffin that we thought he is. Someone made a comment and said that he is probably a way better OC than he is head coach, and I will agree with that. When he's an OC, and all he has to do is concentrate on his offensive side of the ball, he balls out. But when he has to be a CEO of a company, hey, this is what happens, right? So let's go to the second.
You just thought, and this is the last thing I'll say, because they did beat Penn State last year, right, in that bowl game.
Who?
Yes.
Ole Miss?
Yeah.
Ole Miss? Yeah, they did.
Yeah, you thought that was turning the corner.
Yeah, well,
I mean, but it was Penn State though, the same team, basically the same.
They
They beat themselves.
It's the same coach.
It's like beating themselves in practice. That's basically what they did.
It's like they saw each other in the mirror. Hey, you.
You feel like you're turning the corner. That's a big bowl game. Still,
yeah. I see you. All right, man. Let's go to topic number 2 that I know Chris and Jay are going to be very excited about, man. I want to talk about this OU comeback, man. And OU found their quarterback first off, and OU's defense. OU's defense is outstanding. Chris, I've been saying it. I think the defense is great. They do give up big pass plays. They did this game too. It is what it is. I mean, you can fight me for it. You can fight me for it, but it is what it is. But
not wrong.
That
everybody has weakness.
Yeah, that run defense is outstanding. The linebacker play is really good. Bigger linebackers too that can move. And has OU found their quarterback? Chris, I'll let you start this one off, man.
Well, I'll just say this. Like, look, coming from last week, I know we argued about that. I get what you're saying. I think some of those calls, you still just – it's one of those things where it's a give and take with Billy. Like, that kind of some of the design stuff for him over committing a little bit, kind of leaving Kanai on the island, things like that or whatnot. But I still think just as an overall – piece, they're good, and I love the fact that we're seeing a lot of different stuff from them each game. But as far as the quarterback piece, I would say, I mean, you got to say yes, man. I think that he unlocks North Texas, North Carolina Littrell, and I don't mean that Littrell is going to call a great game or this and that. He has not been perfect. But what I'm saying is just the fact that the one distinct difference between Jackson and Hawkins right now is a simple fact. Hawkins is just decisive. If he doesn't see what he likes, he can take off running. If he does see what he likes, he's patient enough to try to stay there. He will lead a pocket and stuff. He has some freshman tendencies, but he helps this offense out. There's no way that you go down there with your top 5 receivers out, right? Your top 5 receivers out. Your running game is not playing the greatest. Your offensive line, he gave all of them a boost. He just by default makes them better. A guy one time, you guys may know him. He told me, he said, "Hey man, there's a real possibility that Hawkins could be starting before the end of the year, and if he does, I don't think he gives his spot back." This dude, he told me that. He told my uncle that. We saw each other at the spring game. Am I right, Jay? Am I right? Jay, can you hear?
Jay, you hear us?
There we go. I'm back. My bad.
I was like, damn.
I don't know what the heck happened, dog. I'm sitting trying to figure out what
was that you told me.
You gotta stop using that stuff, boy. You gotta stop using that stuff.
No, man. No, like it completely switched on me, dog. I'm sitting here clicking on stuff. I'm like, why am I not hearing anything anymore? My bad, dog.
Jay,
wild. Anyway,
that you told me and my uncle, hey Jackson, that Hawkins could be starting this year, and he may not give that spot up. But no, I just think he adds value to that room and continuity to the offensive line. Still not where you want it to be, but it's better, and you see improvement game by game. And I think the numbers, Nick, if you look at the numbers will tell you it's still better. Defensively, man, it was still a little bit of a fight in that game. Peyton Thorne played the game of his life up to
338 yards passing, man.
But the fact of the matter is that defense still kept you in the game, and you got down there to the last couple of minutes. When I was a player, and I'll pass it to Jay, but I remember when I was playing, one of my uncles who was coaching me, he always said, "Hey man, get us to the last 2 minutes, man. He said, "Get us to the last 2 minutes, we'll win the game." And I felt like that's what you did. You got down there to stretch. You got some crazy stops. Everybody's talking about the pick six. Everybody's talking about what R. Mason Thomas did or whatnot. But I think one of the bigger plays that you did not see, or did you not that you're not hearing about, is Samuel coming basically wide open and getting Jarquez Hunter in the backfield and making it 3rd and 4 to force them to run that pass play. So at some point, you just felt like he's going to make a mistake because he kept making a bunch of mistakes and he was disconnected with his wide receivers. What the hell he saw, I have no idea what Peyton Thorne saw. And it just goes to the point where I like Hugh Freeze, but I don't know. Jay?
Oh, man, it's easy, man. Hugh Freeze always makes decisions that are very much questionable at the end of the game. And look, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to say this straight up, and I'm going to keep it 100% a buck. As slimy as a person as Hugh Freeze is, this was exactly as I expected to happen to him.
Wow.
Just being straight up, right? Like, I have no respect for that dude. All the stuff that went down, him at Liberty. Hey, man, you expect some of this type of quote-unquote karma to show up on certain folks, right? But at the same time, Hugh Freeze literally did the stupidest thing you could have possibly done in this game, right? You can watch this game and tell that the OU defense has spent a lot of time on the field. Yeah. We've been trying to figure out the offense. I even text you, Nino, we got problems. 2-pack of boo-boo at this point, right? We're trying to figure it out. Hawkins does give us that. And I did. I said that to Chris and his uncle when I said, I was like, look, don't be surprised if Michael Hawkins goes out there and takes the job. And it was nothing against Jackson Arnold. It's just I've been hearing – I watched him at Frisco Emerson, and I've been hearing about him a lot. So I was like, okay, we'll see what happens. And see, once again, my headset decided to make a noise and do something. That's stupid. Anyway, no, you didn't get it because I didn't say nothing, bro. Leave me alone. This is wild. Like, I don't know what happened. My bad. My headset is acting really, really weird today, and it's getting annoying. But anyway, as the game went on, I'm asking myself, why is Hugh Freeze throwing the ball with a quarterback that he knows like turn the ball over?
He's a turnover machine.
So I'm sitting there. I'm in Auburn, right? I'm there. I'm in Jordan Hare, standing next to the War Eagle people. One of the dudes looked at me when we got the ball when they were up 21-10, and we made that deep pass. He looked at me and said, "Yep, y'all just won the game. All right, man, y'all have a good night." He left, and I'm like, it's 21-10 in the fourth quarter. What are you doing? You leaving? He's like, I've seen this movie before. I know exactly how it's going to end. And he bounced. So another guy in front of him was like, yeah, I'm expecting a turnover coming up pretty soon. I'm like, okay. I mean, we create a lot of turnovers. That's what we do. Turnovers are our luck stat, but at the same time, you have to put yourself in that position to get that luck, right? I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Well, we got the touchdown, then they get the ball, and the guy's like, why are we not running the ball? Because Jarquez Hunter, he's running, he's getting yards, he's doing it. I'm like, okay, they're going to burn this clock. But then you see 5 wide out. And the guy looks at me, he was like, this dude's about to screw this up. And I'm like, okay. And then he throws the interception and returning for a touchdown. He looked at me, he was like, see, the guy told you. He tried to tell you. We knew this was going. And it's all because Hugh Freeze decided to run that play. Now, Peyton Thorne said he'd do that same thing 10 out of 10 times. I just got a video loaded up. I got to edit it again and post it.
He said he would throw it right
Peyton
to the line.
Thorne said he would, in that play, he would make the same decision 10 out of 10 times, dog.
That is why Auburn is, 2-3 now?
And I looked at, I listened to, he's not wrong because that's the read, right? We created that artificial pressure. We looked like we were blitzing up the middle, so our edge, R. Mason Thomas, was coming unblocked. And literally, he's looking at Peyton Thorne. They're looking at each other face to face. So he knew, I got to get it to the slant because that's the only place I can throw it without getting leveled. Or you take the sack. Either you eat it or you throw it. And for them, it was 3rd and 4. Yeah. You got to throw it, even though why the hell are you throwing the ball on 3rd and 4 and your running back is averaging 5.7 yards carry? I digress.
Yeah.
Right. He was starting to wind up. But that's why it was set up that way. So Kemp ran in, bumped into the guard, and ran back. He actually started stumbling. If you looked, he tripped as he was going backwards. But we all knew what was coming. It's like it's Hugh Freeze, and the bad part about it, as Chris mentioned, Hugh Freeze does some really good job with some of his offensive designs, right? He does a lot of misdirection. He makes you have to have eye discipline because that's his strength. But the problem is as the game gets more and more clutch, he starts to follow the same habits and tendencies. He gets away from what works and starts trying to be too cute, thinking you're going to outsmart people who's watched you for 3 quarters. Like, that's what happens. Second half, people adjust. They recognize, now, this is what they're going to do. And what happens? He did it.
And one more thing, I think that he's not getting any of the blame or necessarily, but I think Durkin, or whatever, DJ Durkin, you kind of have to ask him like, hey, look, I get the game plan, but late in the fourth quarter or early in the fourth quarter, whichever one, when we hit that pass to JJ Hester, why are you playing with so many people in the box? You know, like, it's obvious pass downs, it's obvious pass plays that are coming. Like, why are
The
we
team
seeing,
is down 11 points, and you think they're going to run the ball?
yeah, like
And haven't been successful running the whole game?
that's
What are we doing?
My uncle, he called me. He was like, "Hey man, we got to keep them honest. We got to actually throw the ball." He's like, "They're putting so many people in the box." I counted. I think they had 7 people in the box. They had 7 people in the box, and you're sitting there like, "Of course." And what was crazy is that they kind of had they kind of did a little bit of a bracket on. It was kind of a light bracket, a soft bracket over there on Brendan Thompson's side. But if you watched that play, I'm sure since Jay was there, Jay would tell you. Hester and Brendan Thompson. I saw Brendan Thompson get open too. They both were open. And you sitting there just like, hey man, why are we running this? Why are we doing this so early? So what if we make him work the field? There's penalties, there's all types of stuff that are happening to this offense. Let's not give them confidence. So I think DJ Durkins deserves some of that blame as well. But I mean, at the end of the day, man, you know, I came on my pod after the game. I was just like, man, big time players make big time plays, right? Like, that just felt like that encompassed what happened. That was not a perfect game by OU. We let Peyton Thorne off a little bit too easy. To not like the 3-man front that we were trying to run that we thought we could be successful with. There were a lot of things that you could clean up in this game, but what I would say to people, and this has nothing to do with what's going on with next week. We'll get to that, right? But these are the type of wins that help captivate, help bolster, help just give all the type of good feelings to a team that needed it whenever they're limping into the game and limping out of the game, begging for a bye week, right?
Yeah.
So these are the type of games right here where, and I'm just saying, just y'all want me to be real, right? Where we're at right now, this is a type of win that can help you down the line, right? Because now you've been tested. You've been through all of it, whatever the case may be. And you got a hell of a schedule still left for you. But these are the type of wins that a team like this, especially with a young quarterback on the road, this gives everybody in the building confidence. And now you can go into kind of like a 2-week reset, install, whatever you case you want to say. But I mean, the play calling down the stretch, I just don't know. And I was waiting for, and the last thing I'll say before we pass it to Steven, I was waiting for Hugh Freeze in his post conference to say, 9 times out of 10, we beat this.
Well, Peyton Thorne gave it to us. 10 times out of 10, he's gonna throw that pass.
Peyton Thorne. Chris, how about you, man?
Now, Steven.
Steven, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, so Chris, you're right. I mean, that's exactly what you needed going into a bye week. You needed whatever we can do to pull it out, going down to Auburn, pull it out, right? And get back on track with health and folks coming back for a big rivalry game in 2 weeks. So, congratulations to you guys for pulling that out, showing a lot of mental toughness, showing a lot of common sense down the stretch that the other team did not show.
Yeah,
I honestly thought Auburn had a chance to run away with that game, not just win, but win decisively. The one thing we have not talked about is one thing that Brent Venables preaches all the time, right? Which is the first 2 to 3 minutes of the first quarter, the last 2 to 3 minutes before the half, the first 2 to 3 minutes of the third quarter, and the last 2 to 3 minutes of the end of the game. Auburn had a catastrophic moment happen before halftime with those field goals.
Dude, how you miss 2 field goals?
2 of them,
Two
dog.
of them.
In the same
Like-
spot. Oh, no, they gave you 5 more yards on top of that.
Bro,
Like,
those
how
are
do you-
those are bunnies, bro.
Yeah,
You're not a
Favors.
like,
Like,
bro,
Here you go. Hand-me-downs.
he's
Bro,
2
that
for 5
stadium-
in the season.
That stadium pulse was going crazy.
He's
Oh,
at
it was.
home.
It was
He
elite.
was at home, and there was no
he's
stadium
at
pulse.
home and
he's
he's
2 for
shaking,
5 in the season.
but he's shaking 25-yard field goals like this is high school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in your crib in the backyard.
Like, and it's not even like
He missed
shaked
3 in the
it
game.
not even like in the first, but like these are like, hey, they did. Say what you want about Auburn. The reason, and I picked Auburn. Okay, so I'll stand on it. But I picked them. A lot of the reasons why I picked them, you saw it play out in this game. They have a good defense. They have a good offense. They can run and throw.
They're not a terrible team.
They're not.
They're
They're
just
not.
dumb.
I told people about
Yeah.
McLeod on the edge and Reddick and those guys, and they balled.
You did.
They did what I thought they would do. And for the majority of the game, they dominated the line of scrimmage. But for whatever reason, you have just these brain dead moments. Like, these are big mistakes. Those field goals before half are big mistakes. The 3rd and 4 minutes left in the game, it's 21-16. The Kip Lewis pick 6 that will now be infamous in that stadium.
The Kip 6.
The Kip 6. Jay, you said it earlier. At least give me a run look. Jarquez Hunter has to be back there. Don't go empty right there. It's 3rd and 4. I don't mind them throwing and being aggressive to try to continue the chains, but going empty like that, it's like,
It's
he's
like-
either thinking either quick slant or quarterback draw.
Or a quarterback draw. Yeah.
But
And,
either way, something's happening in the middle of the field. The action, either way, that's a easy read.
Yeah.
I saw it. The boys are gonna cheat over there, thinking quick slant, which is exactly what they got.
Can I ask?
You don't even put yourself in a position to at least make them think, hey, he's like Jay said, they've been running Hunter. Alston got some runs too. And they hadn't turned the ball over up until that point, believe it or not.
Shockingly.
They were playing clean ball.
Can
They
I
were playing clean ball.
Well, hey, hold on, because I want to ask our Texas guys this. Jay, you could come in too. Did it bother you at any point in the game, whether Auburn was up or Auburn was down? Did it bother you that on some of those plays, especially in the clutch, right, that Peyton Thorne, no matter if he's bad or not, at the end of the day, be on the same damn page as your wide receivers. Why are wide receivers running different routes than the plays that you're calling? I don't know what's going on. That can't happen at home. That cannot happen. That's inexcusable. Because
that's coaching too.
A couple of plays before the pick six and all the rest of that. Like it happened all throughout the game. That is inexcusable. Not even if you have freshmen out there, you're just running routes.
When your team is bad, let's put it this way. When throughout the rest of the game, we're looking at the game, you're like, damn, Auburn's good. Like you can see it with your eyes. They have good players. Cam Coleman.
Shout out to Josh Pate. He's been saying that.
Lambert
He's been saying they're actually a good team when they don't
even Peyton Thorne. Just forget all what you know about Peyton Thorne. Watching him throw back shoulder to Lambert Smith was beautiful. He can spin it. His PFF grade as a passer this year is in the 80s. He is not bad.
Beautiful release.
All of it to me is if the whole team is bad in those situational moments, like we just outlined, that BB says are the most important parts of the game, and you're always falling apart. Chris, you just said they don't know. All of a sudden, people are not on the same page. Then something you are teaching with your kids on how to handle pressure, how to handle adversity when the money's on the table, your messaging is not getting through.
It's not.
And your kids are not handling themselves well under pressure, because we've seen it from multiple quarterbacks. We've seen it from the running backs in the Arkansas game when they fumbled into the end zone randomly. We saw it from the kicker. Like, none of them handle pressure well. In those big, gotta have it. if we get the stop or if we get the first down, we're fine. Every single time, Auburn's going to screw it up. Every single time.
So, on the Bleacher Report, I think I was the only one that picked Oklahoma to win this game. I think so, wasn't I?
No, Jay picked OU.
Oh, yeah. All right. Jay picked
and I think all of us
me.
did, but Steven.
No,
Everybody.
I was the only person that picked Auburn.
Oh, were you?
You picked Oklahoma as well, Nino.
I know I did. I got my notes here.
Me, you, and Ty did. Me, you, and Ty. Steven's only one.
All right, so these are my notes from the Bleacher Report, folks. I said, I know that OU is down 5 wide receivers, but I don't trust Auburn at all. Hugh Freeze, I've been 10 toes down for you all summer, just for you, all summer, but you gave me Cal and the Arkansas games. Oklahoma's winning the game in Auburn. Those are my exact words in the Bleacher Report. Chris would have been proud of me that day because Peyton Thorne is he's sneaky talented, man. But it's what's in between the ears. And
he's
it's
at the
almost
wrong
like
school.
He's not processing something, and I don't know what it is. And Hugh Freeze, as good as you've been at Ole Miss, as good as you've been at Liberty, like what the hell is going on? And I think Jay said it right the first time. All the stuff that Hugh Freeze has gone through, these kind of things couldn't happen to a more better person, right? So,
I wanted to add one thing because I didn't really touch on OU like I wanted to. I needed to get the Auburn stuff off my chest because
Got you. Go ahead.
When you don't turn the ball over, Auburn had damn near 500 yards. I mean, I know how good that OU defense is, and they are terrific, but that's how good Auburn's offense is. But with OU,
they schemed it beautifully.
They did. They really did. And they attacked Malone. They attacked Connie. Like a lot of those guys, like Chris even mentioned, were in a bind for big parts of the game. But one thing with OU and Michael Hawkins Jr., you guys talked about the decisiveness. I'm going to go a step further. I love the competitive fire of that young man because I think, I think he has a better understanding of like, it's okay to punt. I'm not going to get it every single time.
Yeah.
But I can't turn the ball over. I got to respect possession of the ball. But when I have an opportunity to make a play, I got to make this play. Like we are very limited. I think he had a better understanding of the limitations that OU had and worked with it and then used his legs when he could. Obviously, he hit on the big throw to Hester. That was a big boy throw as well. Same way we talked about Vandergrift making a big boy throw to Barry and Brown. He made a big boy throw to Hester. That kid's a competitor. And we're going to have to I'm glad Nino and I were getting some tape of him now, but we're going to have to compete. Like I'm not over here just looking at him as a freshman anymore. He's a competitor. He's not afraid. And he seems to be making a lot better decisions in respect to the football, knowing that he has a good defense and a defense that can bail him out of situations. And you got to play complementary ball. And I think he just understands complementary football better than Jackson did. Period. I'm sorry.
It all comes down to just the decisiveness, man. I think at times you saw them kind of get a little bit away from the RPO game. Well, a bunch in an instance, but I think he gives you that opportunity, and you're not necessarily out there trying to give him 30 different looks or whatever the case may be. And I thought that they helped him out tremendously, giving him those short passes. And hell, guys like Brennan Thompson out there fighting through the trash, getting through those screens and all the rest of that stuff. You're just asking these guys, keep the chains moving, man. Keep us out of 3rd and 8s and 3rd and 9, stuff like that. Can we keep the chains moving? And so, like I said, man, just the decision making. That's what it's all boiled down to. What you're looking at. I didn't expect him to come out there and set the world on fire, but I think he put some people on and some teams on notice down the line, like, hey, got to shut them up early, because if they don't and we let them linger around, this is the type of stuff that can happen. This kid can make the same throws and all of that, but the story is still ongoing. So plenty of season left.
All right, guys. So where does Jackson Arnold play next year? Who he transferring to?
Levy, Mississippi. I don't know, man. I
don't see it. Michael Van Buren.
Yeah.
I think that he owns that team. So it's not a situation where I can see it. I'm gonna be honest, man. I've said this a couple of times, and I'm still waiting to see how this plays out. I don't think he leaves.
Nah, he leaving. Yeah. Hey, if Hawkins comes and does what y'all think he's gonna do, even if Hawkins gives y'all what you guys would think is a mediocre season, because you guys got a tough schedule. If you guys go 9-3 or
Hold on, but
8-4
what,
this year,
Jay? Why would he stay?
yeah, there's no point for him to stay.
That's the question.
Yeah, that's that's like Arch Manning coming in and being the starter his second year and then getting like unseated by Trey Owens at Texas. Why would Arch stay at? Because I've been told that Jackson's better than Arch. That's what I've been told. So
I'd go full with I mean, look, hold
so
on.
for me,
y'all said I go full with
to me,
you like I slipped that in, right, Chris? No, did he?
Oregon has Dante Moore, Bedlam.
Yeah, they've got everybody's for the most part the places you would expect, unless he goes to like a
ECU,
a G6. Honestly, look. The biggest thing I've heard about him is that playing at OU was one of his bigger dreams, and that's the reason why he stayed at Oklahoma when Lebby left, right? You had the perfect opportunity there for him to transfer and go with, Lebby at that point. He wants to play at Oklahoma. I totally see him playing it out, staying here, not trying to go to the league. I really could see that.
What?
And it's a weird thing to say.
You think a kid would bypass wanting to go make millions? Is his family loaded?
Yeah, I think they got bread.
I mean, but do they got that kind of bread?
I don't know if he cares about football like that.
Well, okay. We'll go to the next topic.
That's
tells me everything I needed to know.
Notre Dame,
Next
a
topic.
lot of places, man. It's a lot of places.
There's options. There are. It's an option. People will take him and they can rehab him. I think that if he does in the right situation, he'll be fine.
Trying to go to the league, you're going to where you're
going to go somewhere, right? Right. If you love it, you would. It just didn't feel like it on the field. It felt like he was more so playing because he's really good, and that was it. It didn't feel like that was the passion that he had in comparison to others. That's me off body language. To me.
Okay.
But right. Last point before we go to the next topic, still, and I say this, all right, wholeheartedly, and I'm fighting tears right now, but I mean this, DJ, you need to get a job. Stop what you doing.
Shut up, dude. Shut up. All right, next topic, man. You are something else, dude.
I'm not missing
with you today, man. Look, man, I'm going to start this one off, man. Texas A&M goes in to Jerry's World, beats Arkansas 21-17, folks. What a hell of a game that was. I thought Arkansas was going to pull that game off. Remember, guys, I was texting you guys during the game. I said, hey, if Arkansas wins this game, they're guaranteed to be a 4-2 team because they're going to get slaughtered next week against Tennessee, right? But if they win this game, they're a 4-2 team. And remember what we said? If Arkansas is 4-2 after week 6, put a trophy up of of old dude. But look, it didn't happen, right? So A&M is A&M a real contender in the SEC, and I want to bring this up because they've been playing some tough bully ball these last 2 games. Well, actually, this entire season, minus the first game, and even in the first game, they played a bully ball type of game where it was great defense. Their offense just couldn't get it moving, but they played some really good defense in that game. I think they might have found their guy at quarterback. You hate to see a guy lose his job due to injury, in Connor, but Reed kind of reminds me a lot of what Hawkins is doing right now at OU. He's being very decisive. His arm talent is good. I don't know if it's as great as Connor's is, but he's been very decisive. If it's not there, he's taking it and going. And it's like the team is backing him, man, and they are on a roll with him. I'm going to say if A&M gets past Missouri this week, they do have a really good shot to be a contender in the SEC when you look at their schedule. They got the opportunity, if they beat them this week, to be 10-1 going into the game against Texas at Cal Field. Yeah, I said it.
It is, and you know what? That is not necessarily out of the view of the telescope, right? The thing about Texas A&M is that how they're playing right now, okay? How they're playing right now is exactly how I think Mike Elko, if you sat down with him, he would say, this is how I envision us playing.
Yeah.
Right? It's concise football. It's exactly what you saw up there at Duke. Now, Duke was a bit more explosive with what Leonard Riley kid or whatever up there, a bit. in my opinion. But that was just really a veteran savvy team, and I think this team is still kind of finding itself a little bit. But we all know, man, that's what I'm really interested to see. Does Luther Burden get loose finally? Does he have that big game that we all been waiting on? Because that Texas A&M defense, especially at home, 12th man. I know it'll be 11 a.m., but it'd be 12th man still. It's going to be hard to move the ball on them, man. I've said that from the get-go. I think Texas A&M team, I don't have them going and setting the world on fire. I don't have them going to win a national championship, but I do have
they can make
it extremely difficult on a lot of teams to beat them.
So, Chris,
I will say, I just wanted to chime in here because Nino, I think we got to hit the pause button on this until the Missouri game because right now A&M, all I know is that they won games they were supposed to win. They were favored in all of these games. They beat Bowling Green. They beat McNeese, and they were favored in the Florida game. So it's not like they haven't beaten a top 25 team yet. They haven't. The one matchup they had at home, they lost by double-digit scores. So they need to.
That's very fair.
They need to beat Missouri, and then I also need to see them play LSU as well. They win those. Those are the two next ranked really good teams. You know, in the Missouri game, as Jay said, I think it's still -1, 1.5 A&M.
2.5.
Right?
2.5. It's moved up to 2.5.
It's
moving up
to 2.5. Right. So, hey. If you go and beat a Missouri team that has won 15 games over the last 2 years up until this point, or 16 games at this point, I know it may not be the sexiest win because of how people feel about Drink, but Missouri's a top 10 team, and they do have a lot of talent. And Noel's a bad boy, all those things. If A&M wins that game, they'll have because the Arkansas game, it's a good win. But I mean, those teams are. I feel like if those teams played each other 10 times, it'd be 6-4 or 5-5 type thing. Like, Arkansas had their moments in that game. A&M had their moment, and A&M won the game. And Marcel Reed is definitely a better fit for what Colin Klein likes to do. I don't think there's any question about that anymore.
And he's making it easy for him too. Yeah,
he's also taking very good care of the football. No turnovers, and they're letting their run game do the talking with Le'Veon Moss and those guys.
Yep.
I'd like to see them incorporate Terry Bussey a little bit more. They use him here and there.
He's like punt return and kick return, but he needs to be like a focal point. I think I wouldn't say a focal point, but almost like Texas does Wingo. You need to insert him in that game, let him get some reps.
They want to make him Champ Bailey on defense. That's what he was sold. But I'm just like, yo, that's your most explosive player.
He's explosive,
I'm just saying,
man.
That's your most explosive player. So you got to do what's best for the team as well. And that means he needs to be on the field. But that's neither here nor there.
Now,
I was say on this game, man, though, look, the line opened around 2. It's gone between 1.5 and 2.5. All the money, at all moments, the money has been on Ole Miss. This really feels like that Notre Dame Purdue game again for me, right? I'm a reference that for those that aren't degenerates like myself. Whenever a team is a favorite in a game and they have no business being a favorite, they probably gonna win that game, right? Like nothing has come out injury report or conversation wise about either team that makes you think that Missouri should be a dog, even on the road. Nothing has come out and said that, right? They're not saying Brady Cook's out or hurt. Nothing about Luther Burden, nothing about the run game, nothing about their O-line, there's nothing that has come out that makes sense to say that Missouri should be a dog. Perfect example, in this Auburn game, when Oklahoma played Auburn, when we had all 5 of our wide receivers out, it made sense for it to go from -2 Oklahoma to -2 Auburn. It makes sense because that's a massive shift. That's a big game changer. We ain't seen nothing in this. Why is Missouri a dog? There's a reason why Vegas is doing this to us. This is the reason why the odds makers did it. So I want y'all to keep that in mind. Like, when we talked about that Purdue game and Notre Dame, Nino's like, nah, Give me Purdue. Purdue, man, Notre Dame shouldn't be no favorite. And then as soon as you said that, I was like, yep, I am so glad I picked Notre Dame because it doesn't make sense. It made no sense. There's no logic to be a 9-point favorite on the road after you got dog walked by Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
The logic isn't there. I have to pick Texas A&M in this game, but just because of that. Like, that's the preview for Bleacher Report. I have to. Because if they go Friday and they are 2.5-point favorites, oh yeah, there's no reason to pick Missouri.
And Jay, just to kind of echo on that, if they turn around and win this game against Missouri, you want to talk about being a contender because they don't have a bad schedule. Mississippi State. Then LSU is going to be their next opponent. That's probably the hardest, right?
They get at home.
Are they at the crib? They're at the crib, aren't they?
At the crib. Then they go to South Carolina. Then they got New Mexico State. Then they got Auburn. Then they got Texas.
At Auburn, which they'll probably win.
Yeah,
and then
they got Texas, right? So they could potentially, if they win this game this week, they could potentially be rolling into Cal Field against Texas 10-1. 9-2.
They could. Or 9-2.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine?
Dog, it could happen.
First year
It is set up perfectly for that, dog.
It is set up perfect. They got their hardest games up front. They got the lumps up front, to be honest with you, in the first 6 weeks. And dude,
I would be on board with that if they beat Missouri. I'm still skeptical.
It's a big if. It's a big if.
If they beat Missouri, I'm on board with them potentially being 9-2 or 10. I mean, the schedule, like you said. I mean, and A&M, they're not beating themselves. It's Elko ball. They're not beating themselves.
But Steven, that's my thing, right? What does A&M like do great? Defense. And we know that they're going to bring it every game. What has Missouri done great all year? Nothing. They haven't been great at nothing this year.
Again, I tried to tell people this, and nobody wanted to hear me. Those are Elko's dudes on that defense. He recruited a lot of them. A lot of those starters are the ones he recruited when he was there. That's the wild part.
Their defense is good. However, they have really bad breakdowns.
Yes, they do. They do. They look undisciplined in a way of this is their coach's first year. Like they're trying to reprogram themselves.
Yeah,
A&M's
you know what I'm saying?
A&M's defense.
A&M. Yeah, they look like they were trying to reprogram themselves.
Yeah,
they're gonna have a play. Now it's up to Brady Cook to hit it, but I'm telling you right now, they're gonna have a play on defense where they're gonna turn Luther Burden absolutely naked loose. They've done it every week. Yeah. It's just sometimes people have hit it. Some people Bowling Green hit it. But the tight
but that Bowling Green, so everybody talks about that Bowling Green win, right? And how close it was. Like Bowling Green played Penn State tough.
Oh no,
they only lost. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about
they covered the spread on that one by a lot.
Bowling you know what I'm saying? Wasn't bad.
Yeah, so that's not a bad win by A&M. I can't believe I'm talking good about A&M right now.
I'm just talking about the scheme, though. I'm just talking about like, they do give up big. They can give up some big chunk. I mean, we saw in the Notre Dame game as well on the ground where they didn't fill.
And it's on both. It's like on both parts. Like it's run and pass. Like they'll give up one big they'll scheme themselves into giving up a big play on run or pass, which is kind of wild. But at the same time, no, I get what you're saying, Steven. I'm just baffled by the fact that, okay, let me ask this before we move on. If Missouri loses this game, do they spiral for the rest of the year?
They got the potential.
Because the Mississippi, the Massachusetts game is on the road, which is a really weird one to me.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's a road game. UMass on the road, that's weird. But I get probably why. But then Auburn comes to town, and then they travel to Tuscaloosa.
That's a loss in Alabama. OU.
And then we come into town.
Might put it on them.
They travel to South Carolina and Mississippi State. Could they spiral in those games that they should not lose?
No. Let me say this. I'm not out on Missouri yet. This game. I gotta see this game. That's where I'm at because
I agree.
If Missouri, there's a world where Missouri comes out and Brady Cook and Luther Burden and Theo Weiss and them wake up because the run game's already there. The run game is already balling. The defense isn't bad. The defense, I think people thought the defense was going to be worse with Baker going to LSU. The defense isn't even bad. It's just Brady Cook and them have been so quiet.
They've been off.
So quiet. So it's like If this
really
is the
has.
game where they come out and go for 250, 300 and put up 3 touchdowns and they look like they did last year, and he's using his legs, Brady Cook, that is, because he's a runner too. We haven't
He is
really
a
seen him
scrambler.
use.
Cook can cook.
He ran for 500-600 yards last year. Where's that? Right? Like, if we start to see the old stuff this week, then I'm good on where I'm at with Missouri right now. It has to be this game for both sides that we
So,
see what it's
yeah,
going to be.
that's true. The only thing that I can talk about, hold on. Where's ET Sports? He goes,
Yeah,
"Man,
Missouri
like,
has had 2 weeks to prepare for this game
he
as well.
said
That is
he
a
ain't
good
hype
point.
of Nuss tomorrow." Hey man, I like Nuss. I ain't saying nothing bad about Nuss.
Yeah, we've been on the Nuss bus.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I like Nuss.
That still
No,
cracks
did
me
he?
up. The Nuss bus, dog.
I'm on the Nuss
y'all
bus,
for that.
baby.
No.
I hate both of y'all for that. Oh
You guys
my
making me.
goodness.
No, so
Got me
Mizzou
choking
just
over
feels
here.
like lightning in a bottle that's ready to get out of the bottle, right?
it's starting to
Like,
flicker. It's starting to
yeah,
flicker.
starting to flicker a little bit, but it just
But this game is going to tell a lot, man.
Yeah.
Mizzou versus A&M is going to tell a lot. If A&M pulls this game off, they could easily be a 9-2 team going into the Texas week. That's going to be
true.
epic. That's going to be. I think at worst they could be a 9-2 team. They could easily be a 10-1 team because LSU does not look that damn impressive this year. But we got one more topic, folks, and it's already been like an hour. So
this is going to be the fun topic.
The fun topic, man. Instant classic. Bama versus Georgia.
Can I
Jay,
start?
go ahead and start it out. No, Steven.
Can I start?
Yeah. Go ahead, Steven.
Ryan Williams made one of the greatest plays I've ever seen in college football history.
My God.
You know that Ryan Williams is 17 years old?
I know. Well, yeah.
Really?
He's 17. I don't care how old he is. What he did was against physics, was against inertia. First of all, the way he Moscas was one thing, right? Like there was like 4 steps to that, right? Ryan Williams is all the way off the charts dog energy as he showed post game. Okay. Yeah. So he Moscas, then he hit the Neo from the Matrix and got them boys to run into each other like Agent Smith, going into each other. Then the acceleration off of the stop, right? The stop, like that reminded me of Reggie Bush versus Fresno State in 2005, where he hit the pause button and then immediately accelerated to the other side of the field. Oh, and then Ryan Williams having the awareness to take his mouthpiece out because I'm a star and I need to let people know who this is. You know what I'm saying? Like bro.
He's sick.
Think about everything that transpired up until that play. Right? Like everybody, they are showing people having panic attacks on the television in Bryant-Denny that are freaking the F out. They're like, yo, why is Georgia still in the game? Oh, Georgia took the lead? It's starting what? Right? Like people are literally in shock. You can see it on the Alabama sideline. You can see it throughout that stadium, right? Because I want to give a lot of credit to Kirby Smart, Carson Beck, the Georgia defense, like all those kids for not freaking quitting and showing true heart of a champion and why they had a 42-game regular season win streak. If you had any questions about them, I know they did not play good ball in the first half, but the way that they competed and not only got themselves back in the game, but took the lead is epic. Yeah. But then Ryan Williams said, nah, he's got so much irrational confidence in himself that it's like, he's like David Ruffin, like ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. like that's Ryan Williams, bro. Like just absolute. I'm blown away.
He's amazing.
Amazing football game. Amazing television moment, honestly, for college football. Everybody was plugged into that. And then Georgia still didn't die right there. They still got the ball into the end zone. And the freshman makes both number 2s make amazing plays, right? And the freshman comes down with that ball. Big man number 8 on Georgia. You got to fight back though. You can't let little cuz just muscle you for the ball like that.
Man, slam him to the ground.
Right.
Taking his helmet off. It is what it is.
You gotta
I'm
fight him or
Great
something,
game.
man. Fight the
Yeah.
man.
Right. You can't. It's a
Yeah.
1-on-1, dog.
Yeah, do
50-50.
something, man.
Just fight the man.
Hey, man, first
Oh
off,
my
man,
God.
Quentin with the $2 holler, man. I see you, Quentin. I see you,
Thank you,
Quentin.
Quinn.
Chris, man, right now.
Obligatory.
Chris gonna cry in the
$2.
car. Chris gonna cry in the car because he gave $2.
I'm just happy that he giving something, man. Shout out to Quinn, man.
He said 304 for OU Hate Week. This amount is more appropriate.
Yeah, he's gonna try to do that.
That's
Cool.
cold blooded.
That's cool.
Uh,
Don't worry.
Cold
Next
bleeded.
next week.
and here's my son. Hey, Dad, my bottle is not working, which is a math app. So I'm watching you. All right, see you, kiddo. So, my damn child, man. He don't have school
Gotta
tomorrow,
love
guys. He don't have school tomorrow. That's why he's out.
Nice.
But oh man, what's I about to say? Georgia, Alabama, right? I think Steven hit it best, man. It shows you about Georgia and just how tough they really are, because there's no way in hell that they should have came back in this game. You know,
No.
there's no way in hell you come back in this game. Which
Milrow gave them a blitzkrieg in the first half. Nobody survives that.
Yeah.
What Milrow did. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, there's no way Georgia comes back from that. But for them to actually come back,
that to me is probably the biggest thing out of this, right? Like, I get that, instant classic in the end. This game should have not been a classic. I give more credit to Georgia finding a way to make this a game in the fourth after being abused in the first half. I mean, they basically did, Alabama did to Georgia what Georgia did to Clemson.
Yeah.
Right? But Georgia did all of it in the second half, and they just dog walked them, right? And I forgot one of y'all texted that y'all thought that Bama was going to dog walk Georgia, and sure enough, to start the game, it was a dog walking. It was 30-7.
That was me. I was like, they're going to dog walk these dudes, man. And
they did.
And Lord have mercy, just having the score. What was it, 30-7 at halftime?
It was 37 at the half, man. Like, literally, Georgia scored on every single possession except for one.
I was like, what is going on here? And then for Georgia to do what they did in that second half was just truly amazing. Look, I tell you what, man, I'm not the biggest Carson Beck fan. I think you guys know that. I've been saying this for a while. I don't see anything that makes him special, but the way that he came back in that second half, I got to give him his props. The way that he came back in the second half. Yes, they got in that situation partly because of you. But,
right, you're right. Right.
But they got out of it because of you too. Right.
Devil.
But also
a lot of heart.
He showed some heart. But also Bama left off 2 more interceptions that they could have had on him that were one was a pick 6 drop. Just so I don't know what he was seeing out there. It was like he was seeing ghosts. But Bama did give it up, more than somebody at a Diddy freak off. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. 439 yards, bro. I'm just saying 439 yards passing. I don't care what you say. That's a lot of damn yards. You know what I'm saying?
That's a lot.
No Diddy. But
go ahead, Nick.
There's a lot of sloppy play in this game. There's a lot of turnovers.
Which also brings me to it. Everybody's talking about
defense's legs just died.
But how can Bama's defense's legs die when you're killing them? And you should be fresh. Your defense wasn't getting cooked in the first half. You were fresh going into the second half. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
4-minute possession, 3-minute possession. Let me correction. Let me tell you the possessions that Georgia had. 2 minutes, 53 seconds, 1 minute 29. Mm-hmm. Then they had that long drive to get their touchdown, which they're already down 28-0. They got a 5-minute 49-second possession in the second quarter. Then a 9-second possession by Georgia right after that because they threw a pick immediately. And then a 15-second possession because Alabama got a safety.
Yeah,
right?
Safety.
Like, they weren't, the possession was all in Georgia. Alabama's hands most of the game.
Yeah, so Alabama's defense should have been fresh. They were just getting cooked. Now, one thing that does alarm me about this game, Georgia still can't run the ball, folks. They haven't made to run the ball pretty much the entire season.
How do they have Etienne and it's not
which is kind of alarming to me.
What they'll tell you is if they get Hastings back, they'll be fine. Blah blah blah. He didn't play.
I don't care.
So they're gonna say, well, our best tackle wasn't in there.
I don't care. I've been told all season and all off season by all these damn scouts that Georgia has 8 offensive linemen that are projected to have 8-year or more careers in the NFL. If you got
True.
that kind of depth on the offensive line, I don't give
With
a damn
ETN back there,
who
you
you
should
put
be able
back.
to.
You should be able to cook. You should be able to cook.
I,
That's
Right.
true.
So
I ain't gonna lie, man. Look, I was watching the game when I saw all the turnovers and I saw it was 30-7 going into half. And I said to myself, this is over. So I went to sleep. I woke up. I remember waking up in the middle of the night watching ESPN. I was like, my God, what happened? What did I miss? I said, wait a minute, 40, 41, 34. I said, what the hell happened in this game? Then I watched some of it back and I said, oh, that's crazy. I was like, first thing that came to my mind, and Ty, you know I love you, man, but I gotta say this. First thing that came to my mind, I said, Nick's not over there on the sideline no more. I mean, come on, man. The reason why I say that is just because I think this team is talented. He left him a freaking Lamborghini, not on flats. He left him the Lamborghini with everything where he could.
yeah,
He got,
no Walmart tires on that Lamborghini. Ain't no Walmart tires on there.
it still tends to lean to, do we all think DeBoer is a really good coach? Hell yes. But it's still that I talked to Ty about this like off camera one day. I was like, does it feel like y'all got dudes on defense? Don't get me wrong, y'all still legit, but does it feel like there's kind of a change in philosophy or like a change in the defensive intensity on something like this? Because Saban probably wins that game. He probably lets them score again, but it still ends up like 50 something to 14, right? Because Saban would have he would have just went home. I don't know. I
have a counter to that, Chris.
Go ahead.
I think you're half right. I think you're half right. I think you're right that Nick Saban and them would not allow that to happen with the way he, especially him being more of a secondary guy.
Yeah.
And some of the breakdowns that occurred, I don't think that happens on his watch. But Chris, I don't think the Milroe, Nick Sheridan, who's offensive coordinator and quarterback coach at Bama, I don't think that Jalen Milroe's playing like that under Nick.
No, he's not.
He's not. Not at all. Not with Tommy Rees' OC.
No. That would not have been possible under Nick, and it would have been the game flow would have been completely different. Well, what we saw yesterday in the not yesterday, but last weekend in the first half. Let's just talk first half. From Kalen, Sheridan, and Milroe was a juggernaut.
Yeah,
both perfectly, arm, legs, everything. They did not have a plan like that for him last year. And the player, did you see the video of Milroe in the locker room? Hugging him after the game. He's like, bro, you saved my football career, man. Because he looks like a new man.
Milroe might be a first-round draft pick. Milroe might go to Miami and replace Tua.
He may go replace Bryce Young.
Oh Lord, no! I don't wish that on nobody. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
There's something about
Carolina,
man. Something in the air. I know they punch in the air seeing not only Baker Mayfield but Sam Darnold do work.
Yeah,
they punch in the air. Sam Darnold of all people, dog. We still own that. We still giving him a shot. What, 8 years in the league?
No, Sam Darnold is younger than Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is.
Think about that for a minute.
It's bananas.
That means he still has opportunity to come into his prime. Like he's young as a quarterback.
Public service announcement real quick. And Karen just did a video about this on his platform about all quarterbacks are system quarterbacks. And as we're seeing in the NFL, we need to pay way more attention about where these dudes are going than the dudes themselves.
Exactly.
Because they are screwing these kids up when they get there with some of these organizations should not be allowed to draft quarterbacks anymore with what they've shown.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, that's one. And two, at the same time, there's a reason why a lot of your better quarterbacks in the NFL have always come from smaller schools.
Wow. That's a damn, Jay.
Think about it. Aaron Rodgers came from Cal. At the time, they weren't really that good, right? Same thing with Jared Goff. Their teams weren't very good. Jimmy Garoppolo, as much as we like to bag on him, I mean, he's
He's a
played
winner.
some solid games, and he came
He's
from
won.
what?
One play away from the Super
Illinois?
Bowl. One
Right?
play away from winning the Super Bowl.
Right. Patrick Mahomes, Texas Tech. They weren't good the time he was there. Somehow
he's
Cliff
won 5 and
Kingsbury
7 over
wasted
there.
that. Right. Look at where, look at the adversity. Like the one thing that was pointed out by somebody, I can't think of who it was, but what they said about quarterbacks like a Mac Jones, who now's a backup, right? Trevor Lawrence is starting to struggle. A lot of those guys are when they come from
He's been struggling, brother.
He's been struggling. He's been struggling, right? The Ohio State guys from Justin Fields, etc. They play with these teams with so much stacked talent that any mistakes that they make is made up by their wide receivers, their running backs, by people around them. In the NFL, and this is the one thing I'll get to Colin Cowherd. He always says this, and I love this quote. In college football, you're throwing a butt-naked open people. In the NFL, you're throwing your guys open. So there's a difference. You can't wait for them to get open, because if you wait till they're open, it's too late.
Too damn late.
That's what a lot of those dudes' problems are, is that they can't just throw it up and a dude go get it because the defense can blanket them. That's why you see smaller school quarterbacks look better in the NFL, because they're used to trying to figure it out without having top-tier talent around them. It's the wildest phenomenon.
Except for Trey Lance. Except for Trey Lance. Never mind. Anyways, hey.
No. They were dominant with Trey Lance. What are you talking about? The North Dakota State, they were dominant. Look at Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, South Dakota State.
In the pros.
Oh, no. That's what I mean. Both of those two came from dominant programs in their
at their
division.
level, they were dominant.
The level,
Their
right.
level,
they were dominant in
yeah.
their level. That's what I mean. It's like you got to
what you
get dudes in the middle and that just got talent, and you start to see where they can develop into something bigger. It's just the wildest phenomenon. It's so rare to find a dude that played at a top program.
That's what I've been telling
ball
people. I'm like, yo, when Shador gets the NFL, he's actually gonna have more time in the NFL than he did in
Shador. They hate on Shador, man, but that dude can ball. Hey, first off, Sharpshooters Podcast. This is the homie. He's a
what up, Brinsky?
Channel man, Brinsky. I won't say that word down there, Brinsky, because I'm a horns all day long kind of guy. But Sharpshooters got a great ass podcast, man. I've been on that podcast a couple times too as well, and we got to get him on here too, man. Just like as a guest host, man. But great dude, man, and great content too, man. But fellas, man, it's been about an hour and a half.
So we've been chopping it up.
We've been chopping it up, man. I gotta go upstairs.
I have one more question.
Go ahead.
Was that Georgia-Alabama game only round 1? Will there be a round 2?
Playoffs. Yeah,
playoffs.
Playoffs.
Don't win a game.
There's an opportunity. I won't say it for the SEC championship game, because the way that the season is set up, there's opportunity for a lot of teams that have one loss or,
sure.
So I don't see Georgia winning out the rest of this year. Obviously, I don't, because of who my team is. But I do see them making a 12-team playoff, and I do see them having the opportunity to play Alabama again if it lines up right. And that's what's going to be interesting, because it's hard to beat a team twice in one season.
Yep.
Very hard.
I think
Georgia has shown that, and so has Bama, because Georgia usually beats Bama the second time.
And if we get a round 2, oh yeah, go ahead, Chris.
I was just gonna say, can I have a parting shot? Y'all finish y'all point.
No, you go ahead, Chris.
I'm good.
This is all I have to say, and this is not SEC related. Okay, all right.
Here we go.
Listen, plain and simple. Okay, Mario Cristobal. Don't choke. Don't give it away. Don't drop the ball.
They tried.
Like, come on, man. Get out of your team's way, man. I don't know what you doing down there. I don't know what you telling. And you can say Cam Ward was making some silly throws or whatever the case may be. I just say, Cristobal, what the hell are you doing? Don't leave it to chance, man. Like this is probably going to be your only chance to really do some damage in the playoffs. I don't know who you have behind Cam Ward, but I know he ain't Cam Ward. I just know that, right? So, dude, don't choke it, man. Don't. Come on, man.
Chris, you know what, though? I want to piggyback on that, too, man, prior to us leaving. I want to talk about Cam Ward just for 2 seconds, man. How deadly would Ohio State's offense look with Cam Ward?
It would have been Justin Fields all over again when it was Olave and Jackson Smith and Jigba and Garrett Wilson.
Oh, my God. Like,
it would have been like that.
Why is he in Miami? I mean, I'm not saying – I mean, I know
No, he's in Miami. I mean,
I know. I know.
He made a good decision if you think about it, though. I mean, he's got a clear path to the playoffs. He's in the Heisman front.
But so does Ohio State. Ohio State's not going to make the playoffs.
We mean Ohio State's not going to make the playoffs?
Yeah, no. I said Ohio State is not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, but the ACC is meh. And the thing is, I think he came there with other guys. I don't think it was just him. Like, I think he knew Martinez was coming. I think they knew what the offensive line was going to be. That offensive line is fantastic.
Yeah.
He's playing behind and two of those guys are already being mocked to the league now.
I know, but
I know.
I just want to see big time players play. I mean, like, what big time games is Miami going to play this year prior to the playoffs? They got
Bro, we needed somebody to bring the U back. Are we not grateful for that? We needed somebody to bring it back. I mean, the U is relevant again. I'm grateful.
They almost made Virginia Tech relevant the Saturday.
I was on my way back from downtown. I finished the game here, like in my car, and I was thinking to myself, I said, "Man, this I can't stand this ball." I'm like, bro. I'm like, I'm like, he is the epitome of can't get right. Like, it's just something about him, and you just like, it's like
Chris,
you know it's gonna happen at some point.
Chris, game day is going to Cal for Miami Cal, I believe.
This is why.
Cal's not bad. I don't know if
they're not great either. Come on.
I don't know if anybody's seen Cal play. They're not bad. They're not bad. They should have beat Florida State. Florida State
they should have beat Florida.
We
talking about Florida State right now.
I think that to me kind of disqualifies them because they lost to all teams. Florida State.
I know that didn't help my case.
Florida State. How you lose to Florida State?
That hurt your case by a lot, my boy.
That hurt your case by a whole lot.
I'm just saying, if you watch them play, they're not a bad team.
And that's fair.
But
Woke versus Coke is going to be hilarious. That's just
Woke versus Coke.
Who cooked Florida State? Like last week.
Oh, it was SMU, or who was it?
Yeah, SMU.
SMU.
Man, they cooked them boys like
they stole something.
They cooked.
They beat them with Charles
42-16. My God.
Are they still doing?
I put it this way. This is why they're going to California, right? You ready? You want to hear why they're going to California? I'm gonna tell you why they're going to California. They were supposed to be at Florida State Clemson this weekend. That's where they were supposed to be at. We ain't getting that.
At least
that was the game.
Give me Missouri A&M.
They were already.
That's the game I wanted. That's the one I wanted.
A&M.
They were already at A&M, or else they would have.
Fair point. Moving around, you got to move it around.
You got to move it around.
Who cares? Like, I don't want to see Cal.
But it was supposed to be Clemson, Florida State. That was the game it was supposed to.
I mean, Louisville, SMU, sexier than that.
Yeah,
it was either
Ohio State,
Tennessee,
Iowa,
Arkansas.
Ohio State, Iowa.
I think you would have done Tennessee, Arkansas. Would have been the second
Tennessee,
one.
Arkansas could have.
You can't do Ole Miss after that loss they just had.
No.
Well, let me ask this question. Looking at the TV rights and stuff, does Game Day go to anything that's outside of what ESPN owns?
I mean, they would, but
because I mean, typically, I think Big Noon.
Man, you know what though?
Will go to
Game Day came last year when Texas went for the Texas Bama. Game Day and Big Noon were both there.
Yeah. Oh, but it is true. But
they go both places, and they got that
odd though. Usually doesn't happen like that.
Yeah, they fly Herb Street out later that night. But no, I mean, next weekend, and I think we can perfectly phrase this because the amount of big games next weekend, including ours, next weekend is Separation Saturday, man. I really think that you could coin it that because it's a bunch of really, really big games for positioning. And I know things have changed with the 12-game playoff, but yeah, this week is kind of light. Hell, I mean,
it's gonna be.
There's a lot of ranked versus ranked games next week.
It's gonna be good. Texas go 6-0,
Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, USC, Oklahoma, Texas.
6-0.
You've got Ole Miss, LSU. Yeah, there's a lot of gaps.
Oh, they got Ole Miss, LSU.
Yes, all of this is next weekend.
That's next weekend.
Florida, Tennessee. It's a rivalry.
What time is Texas game next weekend? It's
We're
probably gonna be at
2:30.
noon again.
2:30.
Oh, is that
We're
2:30?
2:30. We're 2:30.
We
We're
usually
midday
so
game.
early. Oh,
Nah, yeah, they
Oh,
changed it a while
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
ready?
They announced it
Yeah.
over the summer. It's a mid game. The early game is probably going to be Ohio State, Oregon. Between them and Penn State, UCLA. One of those two is going to be your big noon game.
this is beautiful. I get to watch my kid play soccer all day and all these damn tournaments, and then I get to come home and watch Texas put a
2:30.
bunch of damn
2:30 is when they
points
play.
on Oklahoma. Sorry asses. Man, it's gonna be a great week, man.
Not so fast, my friend. We'll get to
Not
that.
so fast, my friend.
All right, next week.
We'll
Save
get
it
to
for
that.
next
Talk
week.
about
I
it
want
next
all the
week.
smoke. Okay.
Save it for
I want
next
all the
week.
smoke.
Save it
Save it for next week. Save it for next week.
All right, man. Hey, Chris. How many plays of 15 yards more you think your boys gave up against Auburn?
Nick been waiting on this all day. Come on, Nick.
You know he watched the game and he wrote it down
Get on,
every
Nick.
single
Go
time.
ahead.
I
he
was
had an
like,
opportunity.
you should have seen me. As soon as it happened,
check
I was
mark,
like,
check mark,
I was
check
like,
mark, check mark.
nah,
Just to dig at Chris.
Nah, I didn't put check marks. I put K.
That's what you put.
He put K's next to him.
Nino,
Dang, dog.
Nino, you need to tag Ken Williams on Twitter.
No, I'm not tagging Ken because Ken, my boy. I like Ken a lot.
I like
But,
Ken, but he was the
hey,
main person fighting back.
Hey man, all these damn
Said it was a
tweets,
non-issue.
all these tweets from Ken are starting to resurface about Jackson Arnold being better than Quinn and Arch. He let me stop. I gotta go, y'all.
Yeah.
Love you,
We
Ken.
out. Deuces.